Hello, everybody. Welcome, PrinceOfPicks. How are we doing today? I want to get back to your picks yesterday, which you were absolutely phenomenal on. But first, hello, we have a special guest today, Brad at Brad Bets Footy. He joins us as an expert soccer, European football for those of you in Europe. Welcome, guys. How are we doing today?
Doing well, man. Yeah, to your point, we hit 6 out of our 9 plays here for the Champions League yesterday. So had a hell of a day. We're on fire here in the UCL, and I'm hoping to continue that momentum here today. We're going to be covering all the matches here. Since we hit such a high rate yesterday, we're going to go ahead and give all the plays again today. So these would normally be VIP plays, but again, as a celebration of our brand new podcast here, we'll go ahead and give them out to everyone here for free for this week. So looking forward to getting into that. And then, of course, let me introduce my guy, my former co-host here, one of the best cappers in the soccer industry, Mr. Brad Betts. What's going on, brother? Oh, he hasn't requested to speak yet. Okay, we'll wait for him to. We'll give him a chance to request to speak, and then we'll get him in here. But in any case, yeah, dude. So looking forward to the slate of UCL games today. What's going on with you, sir?
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to comment on my favorite sport personally, baseball. We had the Hall of Fame inductees yesterday. We had two kind of controversial people come in here. Carlos Beltran, who was literally, I mean, granted, it was after his career technically, but he was a ringleader in a huge cheating scandal. And Andrew Jones, who a lot of people are not sure if he had the stats to really make it. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? That was kind of wild, at least to me. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. No, you know what? I'll be completely transparent with you. I'll defer to you on that. Baseball's not really my wheelhouse, so I don't really have too much of an opinion on that one. But I'll take your word for it. And I mean, I remember Carlos Beltran from back in the day, so he was a big name. But sorry, man, that's really all. That's all. Baseball's not
Yeah,
really for me, dude. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And the other big news. But while we wait, Brad Betts, I sent you a link. John Harbaugh is with the Giants. I mean, this is just a new era for me as a Giants fan. I am very excited to see what he can do. If he has a talent like Lamar Jackson, and I gotta say, Jackson Dart has shown a real flair for using his legs as well. So I am excited to see the next era. But let's get to Brad Betts. He is here. How are we doing today? Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Apparently, the new update kicked off my microphone access to X, so I had to go into my settings and figure that out. So I'm here. What's up? How's everybody doing? Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here. Can talk about anything that you'd like. I gave out my favorite pick this morning on driving the line. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I join at 9 a.m. Central Time with my man Alan Bell, so you can come check it out. But happy to be here, Moshe. So kick it off and let me know where you need me.
Yeah, let's start in the first game in the early window. We have two games: Galatasaray with Atletico Madrid and Karabag versus Frankfurt. What do we go, Brad? First, what do we got in the Galatasaray game here?
Well, to be quite honest, I only have one bet pre-match thus far in the UCL. Gave that out this morning, as I had previously mentioned. I'll be looking at a lot of these matches live. A lot of the numbers are just right within those key numbers that I like. And so when they're missing those key numbers pre-match that I like, I tend to try to jump in early live, or when I see a moment that I find an advantageous moment per match. Sometimes Champions League I find to be a bit more reliable on the live end. So a lot of the time you can take some of the suggestions and take some of the picks that we give out and maybe look at to attack those a little bit early, because sometimes what happens, and for those unfamiliar with the game of football, the beginning of the match, and I say football, I mean world football, soccer, the beginning of the match, typically teams, what you're programmed to do and what your coach tells you is don't give up a goal in the first 10 minutes, right? So you approach the match. That is kind of your mindset. Don't concede, play within yourself, and don't make mistakes. Now, in football, the way the match goes and the way the lines go is they drop a little bit, little by little by little by little by little within each minute of the match. And so as you watch a match or as you catch a match and see the shot total and how things are progressing, you can actually jump in on these pretty early in the match before really either team gets their feet wet, and you can get just under those numbers, those key numbers of, like I always say, the key number of 3. The number 3 in soccer, goal total, is an absolutely massive key number, going from 3 to 4 or 2 to 3. And everything kind of centers around that within the way the lines are all set. So for me, Galatasaray Atletico sitting there at that 2.75 Asian total, which you can kind of get for a little bit of juice, or an over 3 for around minus 115. Galatasaray play a pretty open brand of football. And oddly enough, this season, and Atletico Madrid with Diego Simeone has kind of opened it up a bit with Griezmann and Alvarez and Shorloth. They're playing a bit open. Now, I tend to like goals a little bit more when Atletico are at home because they'll push the total more. But you have to think that Galatasaray should be coming out to try. It's just a little bit of a tricky one. I tend to steer away from all things Diego Simeone, which is the head coach of Atletico Madrid, because he changes his system more than anybody in the entire world. And all of a sudden, he'll just come out and give you a 0-0 for absolutely no reason, or a 4-3 absolutely banger. So just take that, and that's my opinion on that first match.
There, I'm blaming you for the vocabulary banger in my my repertoire
Nice.
there. Um, Prince of Picks, you got anything for this matchup? It looks like Brad Betts is going to be looking to bet this one live. And honestly, that's usually where I kind of live, especially in these soccer European football matches, just because you can wait until the 40th minute of a match with no zero, 0-0 line, and then be able to jump on a side that you actually like if they're juiced. But hit us up with what your best bet is here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So to Brad's point, I think that's an outstanding look in terms of looking at live plays, because it is better to kind of wait 5-10 minutes, kind of see how both teams are approaching the match, right? See if they're really going for it. Kind of see what the lineups look like, and you kind of get a better feel of what's going on if you do a little bit more of a live play. So for me personally, I like to do both. I'll do the pregame bunch, and then if I have to hedge my bet during a live play, I don't mind doing that. But it's absolutely a good look for sure. And in terms of this game, also to Brad's point, with Diego Simeone with Atletico Madrid, right? This is a team that has really been a revelation this season. If you look at Simeone ball over the last several years, I mean, it's been 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, 0-0 all over the place. So for whatever reason, he finally decided to adapt to modern football here, which is geared towards more offensively, more scoring. I think he can make the blanket statement and say that about general sports in general. Really, all leagues are kind of going towards more scoring. But for sure, for Atletico Madrid here, because of that reason that you do tend to see more goals with them. But at any point, you can see those 0-0s. So exactly to his point, I'm on the same thing with that. I'm afraid of the total here because I just don't know what I'm going to get with Atleti on a regular basis. But what I do know is that they are conceding a goal per game in the Champions League so far. So they're averaging a goal allowed per game. And Galatasaray is one of those teams that you do not want to go to their stadium. It's one of the best home field advantages, not just in Europe, but in all the world. That place is an absolute cauldron. You can ask Liverpool. They went there and lost. The other big teams have gone to Galatasaray and lost before as well. So for me, I like the price here on Galatasaray on a draw no bet at plus 150. I really like getting plus odds here with push insurance for a Galatasaray team that is undefeated in 41 of their last 43 matches at home. So again, this is one of the best home field advantages in all of the world. And I think they're going to be up for this game. Both teams kind of need this win. So, but again, with Simeone, I just struggle to know for sure if there's going to be goals in this one. But I do expect both of them to go for it because they're both kind of on the fringe of getting in the top 8 and staying in the top 24. So they need the win for various reasons. But again, for me, just at this price, I think it's a good enough price for me with push insurance. I'm on Galatasaray, Toronto bet plus 150.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Personally, I lean under, and honestly, the money agrees with you. 70% of the money is on the Galatasaray side here. Sorry, Brad. Brad. I combined Brad and Betts there. What do you got for us?
I wanted to make sure because we always got to talk about what's very specific right now is with 2 matches left. Where does each team sit within the table? Because that's going to kind of matter how they approach each match. And with 2 matches left in Atletico Madrid away from home, they are sitting on that fringe, right? But they're sitting on the fringe of the top side, which is a better place that you want to be. But you can live within the middle area, just like what PSG did last season, and they went all the way and won it, no problem. So you don't have to get in there. And the most important thing you can do is getting into the knockout stage, which is the next round. And for Galatasaray, sitting on 9 points, 2 points above the safety zone, 1 point can effectively almost not guarantee, but it could put them in a really good position to get to the qualifying stage. 3 points, yeah, it's great. But what I expect is I actually could see this being a tie, but I also could see it being an absolute banger if it gets going forward because they do play a very open brand of football. Now, something that's very surprising that most people probably wouldn't believe, Galatasaray are within like the bottom 5 or 6 in the total goal totals for the Champions League. Very shocking. But Atletico Madrid are within, kind of the top side. They're actually averaging over 4 goals per match. So we're getting, there's 2 sides to the story. And when there's 2 sides to a story, I tend to abstain.
That's absolutely excellent advice. What about this next matchup here, Karabag versus Eintracht Frankfurt? We got to see goals here, right?
Well, this is my best bet for the day. I gave out on DTL and to VIP this morning. I like the over 3 total, and that's because of Karabag and because of Frankfurt, but specifically with Karabag at home and within Karabag in the European fixtures, over 2.5 and 20 of 26 of those. Both teams have scored in 7 of the last 9. They hit over 3.5 goals when they got to 2.5 goals in 7 straight European matches. Frankfurt, when they get to 2.5 goals, they get to 3.5 goals in 23 of their last 26 overall coming into it. You see Frankfurt conceding 2+ on the road, much more than you concede anywhere else. They're a big time conceding team. And then Karabakh, they're a big time home scoring team. 2+, and I think it's like 6 of the last 7 coming in. You look at Karabakh, they went like 3-4-1 against Atletico Bilbao. They had a bad match or a high scoring match at home to Chelsea, right? So 2-2 against Chelsea, scoring 2 goals at home to Chelsea. And you look at the opponent that they have today, are they of the quality? Well, that's a potential script that I see with Frankfurt. I see both teams being able to score, and when both teams being able to score, over 2.5 is going to have to come in because both teams are sitting below the point total to advance. So I think that, as long as this match is playing, it's going to be unbalanced, right? And I say unbalanced, and even when it's tied, it's unbalanced because 3 points is what both teams are really in search of. And Karabakh, they are an open play style team. So I'm looking for the over 3 Asian total. And I got that at -130 this morning.
Fantastic. I am definitely on this play as well, especially because both of our soccer cappers are both on the same page here. Prince of Picks, finish us off here.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I agree with everything Brad said. I mean, Eintracht is a team that concedes regularly on the road. They've allowed a goal in 18 of their last 19 away matches. And Karabag at home, they're just a different team. They've scored 2+ in 8 of their last 10 at home. So this is a Karabag team that has no problem scoring goals at home against an Eintracht team that has no problem allowing goals on the road. So you have a perfect matchup here. I think all the ingredients are there. Both teams need the points. Both teams are on the fringe or on the outside looking in terms of getting to their knockout stages. So I think everything is in line for a massively high scoring game in this one. I'm going to be on both teams scoring over 2.5. It's a similar play to what Brad has. With Brad's, you're going to need 4 goals to win, 3 pushes. With mine, 3 wins, but you also need both teams to score. I don't have a problem with both teams to score in this one, considering the recent trends. Either way you go, I like both plays, but for me, I'm going to take the both teams to score in over 2.5, and that one's going to be at -140.
Yeah, and something else just to consider for the listener. I personally put a half a unit on the over 3.5 at +130. So there's many ways to play this, but we all love goals. Let's get to the 3 o'clock slate here. This one's really, really exciting. I mean, this is the second day, right? UCL. We're going to have just Absolute banger after banger. Thank you, Brad, for getting that into my vocabulary. Let's start with Bayern Munich at Union St. Gilloise. Apologize if I said that incorrectly. I personally have a parlay piece in this game, but Brad Betts or Prince of Picks, let's give us a breakdown.
Go ahead, Brad. You can go first.
Sure. There's really only one statistic when it comes to Bayern that you really need to know. And I think that's 31 straight or 32 straight now. Matches for them have gone over the 2.5 goal mark. Right? So think about that. Every single match for the last 31 or 32 or something, I think it's that right there. I don't have it right in front of me, but it's right around that mark. I've gone over 2.5 goals. So what I've played and consistently played throughout this entire streak over and over and over again is with the VIP is if you find the 3, you'll see me. If that over 3 total comes on the live line, I play Bayern Munich every single time, no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely excellent. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry about that. Yeah, I agree. Bayern is just this team is a machine. Just an absolute goal scoring machine. It's funny. You would have thought after the winter break, they might have, maybe use some time to kind of re-gel and kind of regroup together and get their form back. It only took about one half, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the second half of their first match after the winter break. Was it against Wolfsburg? I think they put up 8-1. They beat Wolfsburg right after the break. So just an incredibly gifted offensive team. This is a team you just cannot fade at all when in terms of scoring goals. Union St. Gilloise, this is a team, they're still mathematically in it in terms of advancing to the knockout round, but realistically, I don't think they have any chance at all. They're just not anywhere near the same level as a Bayern Munich. And if you're looking at their recent results, I mean, they gave up 3 to Marseille, they gave up 3 to Atletico Madrid, they gave up 4 to Inter, and they gave up 4 to Newcastle. So this is a team that in the Champions League is giving up 3-4 goals per game. I really like Bayern here, a -2.5 at -120. Now, the only caveat here that you could say is a little bit concerning is Bayern is pretty much safely in the knockout stages. They're pretty much don't have any concerns of dropping out of the top 8. So you do wonder what kind of lineup is going to come out here for tonight's game. But in any case, I even think even with a slightly rotated lineup, I just think they're just on a completely another level from Union St. Gilloise. I don't really see Union getting on the board here. Maybe they get 1, but I think Bayern could put in 4 or 5 against this USG team. So Bayern -2.5 for me at -120.
Yep, and I'm actually on the same exact page. My first piece of my parlay leg is Bayern Munich, team total over 2.5. I agree. I think that they're going to score at least 3 goals. They could easily score 4 or 5. And I'm parlaying it with Barcelona's team total over 1.5 for a really nice payout, near even money right now on MGM. Give us a breakdown, Brad, on Slavia Prague versus Barcelona, and what can we expect here from Lamine Yamal?
Well, if you're betting Barcelona right now, what you're expecting is a very open play style. They're going to come out and play open. That's what they do. They're not going to play any other way. They have one system, just like Bayern. Because going back to Bayern, what we like about them isn't just the goal total. Obviously, it's the goal total that we look at and we track. It matters. It's the play style, right? It's a Vincent Company ball, which he showed at Burnley prior to coming over to Bayern. He actually got them relegated and then got the Bayern Munich job. Most people are thinking, holy crap, how is that even possible? Well, he's Vincent Company and he's a product of Pep Guardiola. He has a very open brand of football. It's attack, attack, attack. He believes he's going to outscore you. So playing Union Saint-Gilloise, they are a pretty solid team, not going to lie, attacking ball. They have a defined system. They usually play pretty open, but they can get caught in a lot of nail biters. So you're not seeing a full over 4. You got that full, or you get that 3.75 Asian total, which Bayern Munich hit in a large percentage of those matches and scoring 3 goals. They should be able to absolutely smash this total. It doesn't even matter who's in. They have Musiala coming back. They have Carl when they need him. They have Elise, who wasn't even playing until later in the match. Luis Diaz, Harry Kane. List goes on and on. You just really want to make sure that Harry Kane's in the starting lineup. And if he's not, he could be on the bench coming in at half. Bayern has a history of hitting over 2.5 in the second half alone. So just know that if Bayern Munich goals aren't coming, just like Barcelona early, then they could very much come within the second half, which Barcelona pretty much does quite significantly lately. And they'll even have goal after goal after goal called off by VAR Barca, because they're very frustrating in a way because they can get caught in that offside trap, that really high line attacking, high press style. However, it doesn't really apply as much when they go away from home. But we really just need to talk about their opponent, Slavia Prague, who plays pretty open, to be quite honest, but it's not as open as it used to be. But it's still Slavia Prague. Arsenal put a three-piece up on Slavia with a rotated lineup, and they barely put forth a lot of effort. I really do think Barcelona can score a lot of goals, but it just really depends on when that first goal goes in. They need points more so than some of the other teams, so I expect Barca to score a couple, but they might be a little more conservative earlier than some of the other matches that they attack. But even if they're conservative, they can get on the net. It's a hard one with Barca. Those who have tailed me in VIP know that we love the over 2.5 with Barca, but just lately they've kind of trimmed that off of a goal just slightly. And last match against Real Sociedad, it was just like missed chance after missed chance after missed chance. It was like 10 big chances, and it barely even got to the total. So it didn't even hit the full over. So just be careful with Barca right now. I pretty much only look to play them live or in the second half. Um, Legs get tired, and their through balls get more deadly, and Lamine Yamal and Rashford and speed starts to become a little more overwhelming. So look to play Barcelona late, just like Bayern.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute excellent look. I usually do look for Barcelona, and if they score once, like they usually score in bunches. So I would take a look at that as well. Don't be scared off if they score when you're about to bet them. Prince of Picks, give us your best bet in the game.
Yeah, I think that's another great look here by Brad. I mean, absolutely live plays for Barca, particularly for me, Barca and Bayern. Right, if you don't see goals early, they're coming. They're coming. So, absolutely great live looks for those two teams. If you see, maybe the 30th minute, it's still 0-0. You're probably going to get a great price on goals to come in for both sides. So, definitely something to look for in terms of live bets. But as far as this game goes here, I think this is just an epic mismatch here. I think Slavia Prague's open style of play is going to be their detriment here against this Barca team. Now, Barca is without Lamine Yamal, by the way. He is suspended for this game, so he will not be in the lineup today. But this team is deep enough; they don't really need him for this one. Barcelona does need the win here. I mean, they are kind of in the middle of the pack here, so a win would do them a lot of good here. A win by margin would help them in any goal differential tiebreakers. So I do think this is a game that they should look at absolutely as a game to increase their goal differential here. But I like Barca here, team total over 2.5. You can get that at minus 130. Slavia Prague, they gave up 3 goals to Tottenham, 3 to Arsenal, 3 to Inter. They gave up 2 to Bodo Glimt while Slavia was at home. So this Bodo team is not a great scoring team on the road, but even they managed to score 2 goals against Slavia at home here in the Czech Republic, I believe is Slavia, right? So, yeah, I'm all over Barca here. I like Barca team total over 2.5. I think we see a minimum of 3 goals here from Barcelona, and we're going to get that at minus 130.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared that we are all on the same page for each of these games, but you know what it makes me do? It does make me feel a little bit comforted. And I promise we are not sharing notes ahead of time or picks. Just something real quick. Asian spread over 3 does push if the exact goals end at 3 at the end of the match. So yeah, that is a good point, Addison. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah,
One
real quick,
last piece on Barcelona, real quick, and it's really new, just really recently. It's a kind of a big problem as they just now acquired like one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And he's just been kind of saving their ass a lot lately, making just incredible save after incredible save. And one thing we always became accustomed to with Barcelona lately is that with this open play style, that they're going to concede a lot more. But just lately, they have not conceded nearly as much as they used to. So that's a cause for concern when you look for the goal total. If you need an over 3, that means you need 4 total goals. And if Slavia can't get you one, you need 4 from Barca to cash the bet. So Barcelona is becoming a little more difficult now with the acquisition of that insanely good goalkeeper, Joao Garcia, I think it's called. I think his name is.
Yeah, that's him. Yep. It's great look. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, absolute phenomenal. I'm so happy that we have the duo here to take us through the UCL today. Bring us into Marseille versus Liverpool here. Liverpool is not as dominant as maybe they might appear on paper. What's going on with them, Brad?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Liverpool are going through a lot of what Chelsea are going through, and that's personnel issues, managerial issues, style issues, a lot of just people within the organization, just issues because there is one top dog this season, and it's really making the others question their sanity. Which happens often with Manchester City, but this season is starting to happen with Arsenal. It's hard. Liverpool, I could see this being a 0-0, a 1-1. I mean, look at Liverpool at home against Burnley, right? Burnley basically did nothing and tied the game 1-1. We've had a number of Liverpool matches that should have hit totals, not. We've had some that have absolutely smashed. PSV smashed them as PSV was away from home. They shouldn't be smashing Liverpool. And then you have very different results. For me, Marseille is kind of an open team for sure, and they can score goals. But with Liverpool, I'm just totally out on them for right now.
That sounds good. But Prince of Picks, maybe it's worth a little bit of a sprinkle. If we're really going to fade Liverpool just a little bit, what might be looking at?
Yeah, so this one is by far my long shot play of the day in terms of the odds, but I think there's an excellent chance of this one hitting. I'm not just going to take Marseille to win this game. I'm going to take Marseille on a -1 handicap. You can get that at plus 580. I am completely out on this Liverpool team. This is not the same Liverpool from last season. And I think some of the values here that we're getting on Liverpool, I have a feeling some of it is still based on last year. I feel like, the market hasn't fully adjusted to this Liverpool team, and we're still looking at the Liverpool team that's the defending EPL champions, and they're just a shell of their former selves. I don't know if it's that Arne Slot took over Jurgen Klopp's team last year and kind of rode his coattails to a championship, and now he's kind of getting exposed. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but in any case, this Liverpool team is just an auto fade for me right now. I mean, I just can't back them in any way, shape, or form. Both teams do need this win, so I do expect both teams to go for it. But yeah, I'm all over Marseille here. I think this is a statement game for Marseille. I think this could be a real shocker in terms of the betting odds here. Of course, tread lightly on this one. It's a plus 580 play, so take it for what it is. But I just really think Marseille wins this one. And I think they could absolutely win this one by margin. They're a great offensive team. Liverpool has been shaky at the back. And I'm just not sure if Liverpool can keep up with them offensively. So for me, it's going to be Marseille -1 at plus 580. Those of you who've been following me for a while, you guys know I never give out these kind of plays. Never, ever, ever. I'm one of the more conservative cappers here. So for me to give out a plus 580, I mean, take it for what it is. But I just have a really good inclination about this one. So I'll leave it at that.
Table update, if they tie, no problem, because they're both within a clearance range. Yeah, Liverpool would want to win and Marseille would want to win to get closer to the top side. But like I said, within the Champions League, the most important thing is just to get into it. So if it's later in the game, like what you don't want is 0 points, right? 1 point gives Marseille 3 points above that 7-point clearance, which is important because they're playing Club Bruges on the last day. So they have a more favorable match on their last match day. And the same thing applies for Liverpool, who get to go home against Azerbaijani side Karabakh. And they easily could get better result there, pushing some of their focus on that one. So what I think today is it could potentially be a tie.
Wow, excellent analysis. I'm excited to get through the last 4 games of this Champions League day. For those of you sticking around, we are still going to cover the NBA. I have a football NFL play for this weekend. We also have some NHL. There's lots of things going on, so stick around. And we got college basketball with Drew. Definitely going to have to get an update on that. Hold tight, please. What's going on with PSV? I don't really understand in the next matchup. They're playing Newcastle, and they're underdogs. Both of you guys mentioned them actually by name. Let's get into it. Brad, what you got on PSV right here? Why are they underdogs?
Well, you got Newcastle, who's an English Premier League side, at home. So you're pretty much always going to get a home side as a favorite, unless the team is a massive underdog. Excuse me, I was taking a sip. That being said, PSV is an over 2.5 squad. They've done it somewhere like 27 of the last 32 or 28 of the last 33. They only had a few that they went under, but they score a heck of a lot more when they're at home. Upwards of 2 to 3 goals alone alone at home. When they go away, they kind of play a little bit more conservative, just slightly. So I would look to play the over 2.5, 3 live.
Fantastic. And PrinceOfPicks, what you got for us in this one?
Yeah, so for me, I think PSV keeps this one close. I think getting the price here, PSV plus 1.5 on the Asian handicap, you get that at minus 145. I think that's a great value here, considering just kind of the form that Newcastle is in right now. They're not in great form. PSV has been scoring goals. They have been really stepping it up in the Eredivisie over in Netherlands. Now, of course, that's not the same caliber of play as the Premier League, but nevertheless, they're playing well right now. When we're looking at Newcastle, they've allowed 11 goals in their last 3 matches. So this is a Newcastle defense that's been kind of a little bit shaky here recently. And, remember, PSV, they're coming off of a 4-1 victory in their last Champions League away match. That was at Liverpool at Anfield. So going back to the Liverpool play, to my point there, they're very likely to concede goals. I mean, they have no problem allowing goals even at home. So, but back to this game here, I think PSV, getting them to, even if they lose by 1, you still win the bet. So if they win, you win the bet. If they draw, you win the bet. And if they lose by 1, you win the bet. The only way you lose a bet is if they lose by 2 or more. I like that a lot at minus 145. So I'm going to be on PSV, the team in better form here, plus 1.5 at minus 145.
So Newcastle have
Excellent.
scored 2+ goals at home in 13 of their last 14 matches. The last match that they didn't was last match in the cup match versus Manchester City, where they just couldn't find the net. But every other time they're at home, they trend 2 goals. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They had it against Arsenal. They didn't. Okay. Then you had Bradford. Then they didn't Barca, which was in the Champions League, which does matter. But other than that, 2+ goals, right? 3+ at Benfica in the Champions League, 2+ against Athletic Club in the Champions League. They lost away from home, which they typically do. They lost or tied away from home against Leverkusen, even though they're absolutely shocking. So you have to think that Newcastle PSV should be open. It's just a matter of, do they finish? And what you also need to know is that Newcastle trends second half goals quite significantly. In the second half, it's about 67% of their matches come from over in the second half. Almost all of them, about around 80%, will have at least one half have 2. So if the first one doesn't have 2, you have a pretty high probability that it's going to come in the second half. And with Newcastle, when they are at home, they're consistently over 2.5 goals, and they have actually conceded down like 14 of their last 15. So you kind of expect both teams to score the over 2.5 goals and likely the over 3.5, but it could get to 2 and a 1 if Newcastle's up. Sometimes they just stop playing. Eddie Howe will just hit the brakes and then just pray for a victory.
Wow, excellent, excellent. I personally follow both of these teams. I do like the Netherlands. Lots of goals to be scored there. So if I see a game in the Netherlands, by the way, and there's a 0-0 score in the 30th minute, I just sprinkle
Yeah,
the
overs. That's
first
an
half
over. That's an
over.
overs league for sure. 100%, dude.
And honestly, both of these teams, I look for live overs. I already played pregame. I will also be looking to add to my position a little bit more live. Juventus, Benfica here. This is going to be a really fun one in Turin. What do we got?
This could be such a barn burner. but then also could be a high scoring thriller. Like there's going to be no in between, or you could see like an 80th minute goal and then a 90th minute tie. Like it's you just have Juventus who's really not playing well in any way, shape, or form. Like get a lot of chances, but they struggle to actually find the net. Benfica is going to be a frustrating team. They don't play as open as they used to. They It's just a very, very tricky one. The goal total over 2.5 goals is minus 105, right? So think about that in terms of the Champions League is trending over 2.5 right now in upwards of 75% of the last 35 matches. And you have one of the total goals, which is the lowest on the entire slate. So they're saying, hey, this one also we think could be a barn burner if both teams decide that they're just going to be absolutely dreadful on the day, which happens for Juventus quite often. But then sometimes they put up really high scoring matches. You'll get like 1-0, 5-0, 3-0, 1-1, 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. You don't get a lot of high scoring matches with Juventus. So you really sit right there on that key number. You're almost better off looking at unders. I hate to say that, but you really are.
I am on the same page. When I was looking through this match last night, my only note was the first goal is probably going to win. Prince of Picks, usually, right, when it's the lowest total, sometimes the under is the play, as Brad Betts just alluded to. Bring us into your best bet of this match.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that was just said. I think there's so much variance in this game in terms of the goal total. It could be a high scoring game. It could also be a 0-0, 1-0 type of thing. I'm leaning towards the under here, so my official play is going to be under 2 goals here at plus 150. I got that on an Asian line, which means if there's 2 goals, you push. But if it's a 1-0 or 0-0, you win the bet. When we're looking at these two teams here, I mean, these are teams that are just very defensive oriented. But even more importantly, if you look at their schedule here, in terms of their Champions League schedule, Benfica has Real Madrid coming up as their last match. So you would expect if any team's going to want to push for a win, it would be Benfica because, that's going to be a game that could be tough. However, Real Madrid, at that point, they should be safely in the top 8. So you actually might be playing a Real Madrid team that's rotated because there may be nothing to play for the final game for them. So if you're Benfica, you might actually look at this game as like, okay, let's just get out of here with a point and let's take our chances against a rotated Real Madrid side where Benfica will actually be at home in this one. And then if you're looking at Juve, same thing for them. They're away to Monaco for their last Champions League match. So Monaco, again, a team that just got blown out by Real Madrid. And I think this is a Monaco team that Juve could absolutely take care of here in the final match. So I think if you're looking at both teams, they're probably looking at this game as like, okay, guys, let's just each get a point, and let's take our chances in a little bit more favorable matchup in the last game here for the Champions League table. So officially here for me, I'm going under 2 goals here for Juve Benfica. That's at plus 150.
Biggest problem that we have in this match here is that Benfica, if they get that first goal, they're going to park the bus. Like, it's going to be old school 11 behind the ball, park the bus. So know that if they score first, that's different. Now, if Juventus score first, Benfica will do everything that they can late in the match to score, to equalize, to get a result. So that's how this match is going to play out exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just the best analysis you can ask for right there, right? You heard it here. Take the under, try to bet a live over late in the game. Bring us into our next game, Brad. You kind of mentioned them earlier. There might be a little bit of a crisis here. They might not be as strong also as they appear. Chelsea at Paphos. What's going on with Chelsea?
Everything. They have too many players. They just lost their manager, right? So now they have a new manager. You also got to question who's going to be in the lineup for Chelsea today. They do a lot of rotation when they play in Europe. And it's just, there's a big question mark with them. And then you look on the away end, if you got revenge game for David Luiz, LOL, if anybody knows David Luiz, former Chelsea and Arsenal center back, plays center back now. Later in his career for Paphos. Paphos is from Cypriot side. What they are going to do is sit 11 behind the ball, and they're going to look to just clear the ball early, just probably every single one. Look for a quick counter with one or two players up the field and look to try to expose those defensive players of Chelsea, whoever they may be today. If they actually get Kukurea or if you're going to get Gusto on the right or if Reece James is going to play, who actually knows with Chelsea. And I would just expect a very low effort from Paphos early. And it just kind of depends on when that first goal falls. It could really be a barn burner, or if Chelsea score first, then I expect Paphos to score.
Excellent, excellent. I personally do see Chelsea scoring, so hearing you think that Paphos is going to really go for it, brings us into Prince of Picks' best bet for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think when you're looking at the table again here, you got to look ahead, right, to see who these teams have in terms of their final matchup after this one. Paphos has got Slavia Prague at home. Right, so that's a game that they're absolutely going to circle and say, okay, this is where we need to get our 3 points. This is how we enter into their knockout stage, right? So I do think to Brad's point here, I think they play very defensive in this one. So I'm going to stay away from any totals because I don't think we see a whole lot of goals here. However, despite the fact that Paphos has not scored a road goal yet in this Champions League, I do think they can get one today. I think they can get one, maybe on a counter, maybe Chelsea kind of pushes and they leave themselves exposed in the back. I think Paphos can score here. I absolutely think Chelsea can score as well. But we're looking at Chelsea defensively. They've conceded a goal in 11 of their last 14. So this is a Chelsea defense that's kind of a little bit all over the place. And I just think, given the necessity of the moment here, Paphos really needing at least a point here. This one, I mean, they don't want to go away with 0 points. That would really put them in a rough spot. Even hosting Slavia Prague in the final match, that a point would go a long way for Paphos here. So I don't think they keep a clean sheet. I don't think Chelsea keeps a clean sheet either. But I don't see a whole lot of goals. So maybe like a 1-1, to be honest with you, if you're looking for any totals. But for me, BTTS at plus 100. That's going to be my play for this one.
Yep, and that's our friend Bucket's favorite type of play as well, BTTS. And I've actually played that somewhat in the NFL and MLB with success. It's a lot of fun to just be rooting for goals, right? Last one here, we have Atalanta versus Athletic Club. Now, if I have my notes correct here, they are two of the highest pressing teams in all of Europe, right? So how can that play out in the match today? Sorry, Brad. That's you're. I don't think we can hear you.
Oh, you want me to jump in? Yeah, I can jump in first, no problem. So we're talking about Atalanta and Atleti over in Spain. Which it's actually kind of crazy. Athletic Club have always been a really low scoring, low total team, but all of a sudden lately they're just so shocking defensively that any team can really get in behind and score. With Atalanta, though, they are a total tricky bugger. Like, they do play open on the surface, but their goal totals are pretty low, and a lot of times they come late. If you're looking at Atalanta, they've been over 2.5 goals, like 4 times, 5 times, 6 times over their last 20 games. So yeah, kind of you think it would, but they're just not hitting it. And then Athletic Club, they're around about a 60% total hit rate. And then, they took a 0-0 to PSG. They took a 0-0 to Slavia Prague, an 0-2 to Newcastle. They got smashed by Dortmund. They smashed Karabakh at home, which they have a greater success when they're at home. Other than that, they had put in some pretty shocking performances. Real Madrid beat them 3-0, Celta Vigo 2-0. Barca smashed them, and then they had high-scoring matches in the Copa del Rey once, and then they barely beat like a third division squad in the second part of overtime. So it's just you don't really know what you're going to get with Athletic Club. So I am going to abstain from all things Athletic Club for here on out.
Yeah, those tricky games. We had it with PSG yesterday. It's sometimes just best to take a step away. But Once in a while, you might have a best bet anyway. Prince of Picks, bring us into the last bet of the Champions League for today.
Yeah, so for sure, this is the most tricky one for me of the slate for today's matches. But for me, I'm looking at a low scoring game here. And the reason for that being is when you're looking at the table here, and again, you have to keep in mind these teams are their goal is to get to the knockout stage, right? So we're looking at Atalanta right now. They're sitting at 13 points. They have Atleti today, and then they finish up with Union Saint Galois, right? So you're looking at Atlanta. And if I'm at Atlanta, I'm saying, okay, I'm on 13 points. I get a point today, and I get a point against Union. That leaves us at 15 points. That should be enough to qualify for the knockout stages. So for a defensive team like Atalanta, a team that doesn't really, they're kind of hit or miss with their scoring output. So I think they may look at these last two games as like, okay, let's just get out of here with the point. Let's accumulate enough to get to their knockout stage. So I don't think we see a lot of goals here. I don't really trust Atleti here on the offensive side either. I know maybe they've been stepping it up a little bit here and there, but I mean, in the Champions League, they've only scored 4 goals in 6 Champions League matches, so they're averaging less than a goal scored per game. And so I just think, I think we don't see a lot of goals in this one. So I'm going to take the under 2. Again, in this one's at plus 145. Again, for those of you who aren't familiar with how Asian lines work, if it's 2 goals, we push, which means you get your money back. If it's a 1-0 or 0-0, you win the bet. The only way you lose is if there's 3 goals or more. So, again, I don't see a lot of goals in this one. So, under 2 for me, plus 145.
Has anyone broken down the Champions League like this? This is just fantastic. We are at 45 minutes. Brad Betts, feel free to stay on. You can also, before we move on from soccer, European football, you're more than welcome to bring in any other analysis, best bets, something to look out for, live plays. But we're going to start moving on to the NHL with our residential expert, Z Quishy. But before we go there, Brad Betts, any last thoughts on soccer?
Yeah. The Qatar Stars Cup. I know I failed on my pick this morning, which was absolutely shocking, and I'm actually on a really bad run over the last 24 hours, following a really, really good run. So I think that's just how betting goes. Sometimes ebbs and flows. You're gonna experience it. But the Qatar Stars Cup is smashing the over 2.5 goals and upwards of 80+% of those matches. And Qatar just ended whatever, but or those matches for today just ended. Just pay attention to all things Qatar from goal total. And the Netherlands Eredivisie is playing today. As AZ Alkmaar are taking on Excelsior at home. The over total is 3.5. If it gets to 3, it's a really good probability that will get to the over 2.5 goals. Netherlands, all things Netherlands, but the top division of Netherlands is hitting the over 2.5 in a pretty high rate. It does hit both teams to score a lot, but with Alkmaar, they are a goal total team more so than a both teams to score team. I know we mentioned that, BTTS. Well, one thing we need to really make sure is the last thing before I go, the frequency at which over 2.5 goals appears at the same time that both teams to score is such a high rate that you're better off looking total goals in almost all matches other than your very, very small leagues, which don't have very high hit totals like a Brazil or some of these obscure leagues. So just remember that both teams to score equates to over 2.5 goals and upwards of like 75 to 80+% of the time. The 1-1 is a rare event. And so I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you so much, Brad. That was incredible analysis. You're more than welcome back anytime, obviously. Prince of Picks, got any last minute soccer things before we move on to the NHL?
No, I don't. That should be it for me for soccer.
All right, let's invite Zikushi. You can now take yourself off mute and speak. Give us what is going on in the NHL tonight. We have a full slate starting at 7 p.m., starting with the Red Wings and Maple Leafs. I'm honestly started following you just a while ago, and I've been loving watching the late night NHL action. So yeah, bring us into the day. What's going on?
All right. Well, thank you for having me on here. I'm quick in and quick out. Got to go back to work, but I really appreciate what you're doing, and to be a part of this, a friend of the family is really exciting. I am definitely just really loving hockey, and I also love baseball, all sports, but I tend to get into the plays with the baseball and hockey. I'm definitely just a casual, though, just trying to have some fun. Bet I'm playing tonight. What I'll give to you guys. I'm looking at the Toronto Detroit game, and we're real lucky here that we got goalies that have been confirmed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 6-game slate. It's kind of a smaller slate, which is typical for Wednesdays. But Detroit is heading up. They're in Canada playing in Toronto. Gibson's going to be in goal in Detroit, and he's been playing above his. I think he's been playing above average and above his average. He's been out playing, doing real well. And then there's Toronto. Joseph Wool is in goal for Toronto tonight. Basically, the Wings are pretty offensively strong and well balanced on both sides. They've been hitting up. They've scored 3.71 goals per game in the last 7. The Leafs, they're basically, they have good offensive firepower. 3.37 goals per game in the year, which is 6th in the NHL. The issue is that Wall is he's kind of in a rut right now. He gave up 11 goals in the last 2 outings. Toronto's also got some injuries that have hurt their defense. Nylander's out. There's a little bit of problems with the meshing and being strong on D, but they still got offensive firepower. They lost 3 out of 5 games, but they're scoring 3+ in 4 of their last 5. And if you look at Detroit has scored 4+ in 4 of their last 5 games. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Toronto's also allowed 3+ goals in all five of their last 5 games. Detroit kind of they definitely own this head-to-head this series. They're 3-0 against Toronto this season. Money line wise, they're still they get that underdog value, which actually in this spot kind of scares me. Real hard to sweep a team for the entire season, and I know that they give Toronto the home advantage here, but I had trouble picking a side. I think this one could be one of those 3 + 3 = 7. Could go to OT, who knows? Or Toronto could come out flat and Detroit could keep scoring goals. So I like the push protection on MGM at -118 for the flat line at 6. If you can get the 6.5 at near plus odds or something around that, I would still hit that. But my play here is the over 6 on MGM at -118.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, and for all of you listening, Zikushi is very humble. He is one of the most profitable sports bettors I know, and I've been following him for a while. And I mean, more often than not, which is Gus the key here, his bets cash. I do have one question for you. This is about tomorrow's game. This is just because I was up late last night watching the Oilers shoot 11 shots in a row with absolutely no blowback in the third quarter. Third period, they did lose that game, but I am looking ahead to tomorrow's matchup against the Penguins. -125 money lines looks kind of attractive to me.
Where are you getting that -125 money line?
To be fair, this was a line that I saw last night offshore.
Should have played it then, brother. It's -198, -188. Still very worthwhile. I don't like playing puck lines. If you know, like my style, I tend to take if I see a clear advantage on a favorite, I tend to go for the 60-minute money lines, which are much cheaper, but you don't have to, have that sweat for that empty netter, which honestly this year there's been much more games that have actually gone to overtime or finished with a 1-score game. I don't know the stat on that, but there's not nearly as many empty netters, which is why I've been having a lot more luck on playing dogs on the puck line. But yeah, the oil can is looking pretty strong right now, and it's a fun game to look at. I can't wait to see who the goalies are going to be, because this is a team where Pittsburgh traded Jarry to the Oilers earlier in the season, so there's a lot of different narratives for tomorrow. I'm excited for that game. Don't quite know where I'm going to head, but I might be heading to the over on that one as well. It looks already at wow, it's 6.5. So we'll see what happens. All goalie dependent. But it's a great question. And I love looking ahead at everything. And, I always bake in, travel spots, back-to-backs, road back-to-backs, all those things. I'm on Pickett. I mean, I mean, like, you can find me. I'm same name, Squishy, ZQUISHY. I think, I mean, I'm not going to boast about my records.
You don't need to. I'll do it for you. But I did add your Twitter handle and your pick to today's article when the podcast comes out. Any last thoughts before we head to college basketball and then to the NBA? And Prince of Picks, please speak up if that's cool for you. I do have a question for you in the NBA tonight, along with my best bet. But before we go there, Ziquishy, still don't know how to say it exactly.
Squishy. It's just squishy, man. Like a squishy toy.
Like Finding Nemo?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That might be the Oilers tomorrow on the 60-minute puck line. That might be my best bet for tomorrow. But for today, any last thoughts before we let you go and bring on Drew?
Nah, my brain's all over the place. Got to go to work. Appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you. No, thank you for coming on, making the time. I appreciate it. All right. Prince of Picks, is that okay with you? We go through college basketball, then we circle around to NBA to close off?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just doing some dishes, so I'm listening. And when you're ready for me, let me know.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Thanks, Prince. I really appreciate it. Hey, Drew, how you doing? Unfortunately, a few of those.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, hold on. I may have to leave and come back in. 1 second.
Okay, he will be right back. Yesterday, I did hit my lean on the over in the Wyoming game. Unfortunately, Wyoming just completely fell apart. But we are going to be looking forward to another great slate today. I mean, listen, this is where it all comes down. This is the beginning of the end towards March Madness, and we get incredible games. Drew, talk to us. How you doing?
Yeah, so I'm doing good. Yesterday the 3 plays I gave out were 1 and 2. Were some amazing games. I did do more plays and did something I make a lot of money of college basketball is live betting, of course. So I doubled down on Miami, Ohio. That was the game of the year, by the way. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. Miami, Ohio versus Kent State. But that was amazing. Miami, I was up 14 and a half, and then they choked it. And I was like, oh, they're about to lose. And they sent it to overtime. This team is just amazing to watch. They're 20-0 now. They're the first team in their conference to go 20-0. So, and then Wyoming decided not to play at their home in their elevation. So I'm done with them. And then Missouri had a heartbreaking loss. This is where you just have to face the facts. You took an L with the correct research. Missouri, who's been shooting at least 37% from 3 all conference, right? Shot like I think it was 5 of 24 from 3, and they still only lost by 2 points. They were up. The problem is they were up by 2. What was it? No, they were up by I think 1 with about like I think it was like 10 seconds left. Georgia got a bucket to basically win it, and Missouri missed their shot. So it was very unfortunate that happened, but those kind of things happen. Missouri made Georgia play slow, which is hard to do. So Missouri losing at home, I'll take. So, I'll take that every day. Missouri winning at home.
Yeah, that was a tough loss. It really actually was my 1 unit down for the day. I kind of went down with the UCL picks personally, but then again, we had Prince of Picks to pick me back up. What do you got for us today?
Yeah, definitely. I have some good value stuff, and something I will say: if you guys do want to bet college basketball, another thing you can do is, of course, live betting, or also look at other games like later on and stuff like that. Because sometimes I'll look at other games, like I bet UCLA plus 5.5. They ended up winning outright because I saw 7 points of value at the last minute. So, and they're a late game, but I have 3 games right now that have really good value. I would say Texas plus Seven, you can do 6 or 7.5. 7.5 all, it's not bad at -127. Over versus Kentucky. Not saying Texas will win. I'm just saying they're going to at least cover, in my personal opinion. Texas has had a weird SEC. They've had two really good wins in the SEC. They beat Vanderbilt and another team that they lost to that they probably shouldn't was Texas A&M recently at home. But I do like Texas here to at least cover because something that because I like to look at SEC play stats. Kentucky has not been good in SEC play, producing anything but jump shots. They've been bottom tier in SEC in 2-point percentage, defending 2-point percentage, defending 3-point percentage. The only thing they've been good at in SEC play. 5 games is a small sample size, but 5 games in your conference is worth 1 to 2, like 1.5 to 2 games in non-conference because you have the same refs and stuff. So, and something Texas does great is get to the free throw line, and that always translates. I think they're number one in the country all season. They're like 50% of their field goals are getting to the free throw line. So, something I can see here is even if Texas does get up like 6 through 10 late, I think even if Kentucky does get up 6 through 10 late, I think Texas can get to the free throw line and make this a 4 to 5 point game.
Excellent look. Yeah, and
Yeah.
honestly, you can always post these tweets or whatever they're
Yeah.
called tweets now. Tag us, and we'll repost them. We'll link
Yeah.
them. We'll try to spread them as much as we can. And I honestly, what you're saying about live betting, especially in college sports, it's the lines move drastically
Oh,
in the
yeah.
fourth quarter, and you can in the second half, and you can really get solid pricing
Yep.
on considerable favorites or underdogs that are keeping it close that you think should be keeping it close, and you can really take advantage of those runs that are, they just happen in basketball. That's how basketball works, right? It goes
Yep.
on a series of
Exactly.
runs. Um,
Something
I,
I noticed too about college basketball is they have the biggest, not just the biggest line movements, but the biggest line movements in sports. And something because I made a lot of units yesterday from live betting certain games, right? And if like for example, like what was it, the UCLA game, right? They I did them 5.5. They got down early, right? It was like 27-17, right? And then they were plus 11.5. I took my plus 1.5. They came back and did a 9-0 run, and then UCLA ended up winning somehow. And then I caught UCLA at plus 320 money line, and I put like a little bit on it, because I was like, I think UCLA can win this game because it's over exaggerating. Like if a favorite is up by 2, right, and they have the ball, the Vegas will over exaggerate and make the other team like plus 3 to 400. But we saw a big upset too, by the way, and this leads to my next pick. We saw a big upset. I don't know if you guys saw it in the Mountain West. Utah State was 16.5 point favorites at home to UNLV. And they were up by 11 with about 8 minutes to go. UNLV was plus 1,800 odds to win at that point, and UNLV came back to win by double digits. This is one of the biggest upsets in college this season in conference play. And that leads to this. Now they're 2 games back of San Diego State in the conference standing. San Diego State is 7-0, and they're plus 1.5 at GCU. GCU is a good team, but I feel like Vegas is disrespecting San Diego State. My model, just like kind of the UCLA game yesterday, says this is 6.5 points of value. They said San Diego State should be favored by -5. There's a big enough conference sample size for San Diego State. San Diego State is basically number one in almost every category in the Mountain West in defense. And something that GCU relies on is offensive rebounds, about middle of the pack. But San Diego State's number one in their conference at preventing offensive rebounds. And both defenses are really good, of course, but SDSU is just, to me, the overall better offense, more experienced team. And if you think about it, they only have 4 losses on the season. Their 4 losses are Troy, which is not a bad team, but then Michigan, Arizona, and Baylor. We're talking about powerhouses here. So I will gladly take San Diego State plus 1.5. Give me the points. Like if I get any points with San Diego State, who's 7-0 in conference, and they've shown on the road, and they'll be extra motivated. Like, hey, Utah State just lost, right? So we're gonna want to make sure that we widen that gap. And I would say, lastly, they don't have to travel far. San Diego State to GCU is like a 5-hour drive. So
I'm in for San Diego State. I like them. I bet them a few times this year. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I like riding teams, especially teams that have dominate conferences. And Vegas just keeps thinking like they're finally gonna get their first. They're finally gonna get their first conference loss. That's what they're thinking.
Right. Yeah, I hear it. All right. Any other best
Yeah,
bets in
yeah,
the college basketball world before
yeah.
we head over to the NBA?
Yeah, the last one I personally have, in my opinion, uh, yeah, the last one I would have is, and this is some pretty good value, is West Virginia plus 2.5. I'm sorry, I am picking on the Arizona teams, but I like West Virginia at a plus 2.5 at Arizona State. I think West Virginia is personally the better team. I think they win outright, but I'll take the 2.5. Personally, West Virginia is one of the best defensive teams. And right now, the projected margin, according to my AI, factoring all conference stats and stuff, is West Virginia wins 71-69. So if you think about it, it's like 4.5 points of value right there. And something I will say about West Virginia is they're really good. Like West Virginia has shot really good, the three really good in conference play. And something Arizona State hasn't done well in conference play so far is play great defense at all. um, yeah, their defense has not been as good. I know West Virginia's defense may not have been good, but I just overall love West Virginia's just like battle testedness, and they've always been a power, kind of like a mini powerhouse too in the Big 12. And Arizona State is still learning how to play in the Big 12. Arizona State defensive efficiency in the conference so far is 126.3, which is absolutely terrible. And something they don't do well is they allow so far in conference 42.1% from the three. And in the conference so far, West Virginia has shot 36.7% from three. So, and they're also, the last part, which I like, is Arizona State gets a lot of their stuff from getting to the free throw line, while West Virginia is one of the best preventing that. And I think the key, guys, you look at college basketball stats, look at the FTA/FGA, how many free throws someone allows and stuff, because free throws decide college basketball games at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Mo, you there? Are you on mute?
Oh shoot, sorry. Yes, those free throws at the end of the game are very, very important. Even if Wyoming didn't win the game, the over did sail based on those free throws
Yeah.
late.
I know we
And
talked about that.
yeah, those leans. I got to start betting those leans more than just $25 at a time, because
Yeah.
they more often than not they're as good, if not better, than some of my regular plays. Like yesterday, my 2.5 unit plays did not cash in the UCL, but I do have one play in the UCL today and one play in the NBA, which we're going to come up
Oh,
to
I have
next.
one more
Drew,
quick thing.
yeah,
Oh, I
go
I
for
have
it.
one. Oh yeah, I have one more quick thing. Something that I like to do also is double ups. If you guys want to look at like money lines to add to like lays that are kind of inflated, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like certain money lines that are like minus 200 that you possibly want to combine. Certain money lines that I like is if you wanted to combine, like I think Nebraska definitely beats Washington. I think Seattle to beat LMU is not a bad pick either. And another one to look at, I would possibly look at the live bet if you're willing to at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, so 8 p.m. Eastern, is Temple at Rice. I think Temple is a better team. So yeah, if you want to look at some money lines to double up, I know sometimes my friends will pair up three money lines equal like minus 110, and that's always good value to do too, especially with favorites that look like good value.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I love doing those, dude. So can you say those one more time? I'm actually gonna put them in right now. Can you repeat that one more time? Your money
Yeah,
lines? Yeah.
so Temple I wouldn't add to that. Temple I would do a live bet. So something I would have a Temple is they have a great defense and Rice is not good offensively, but Nebraska I always love. They still haven't lost. And then the another one I like too is if you want to inflate Seattle spread, you can. Seattle versus LMU. I'm sorry, but it's a very late game. It's at like 10 p.m. Eastern. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Those two. Awesome.
Thank
Thanks.
you. And by the way, Drew, if you can possibly send me your betting
Yeah.
card and all your suggestions, I'm going to add it to the article.
Yeah.
PrinceOfPicks already did that so that we can get it out, and then we can also send it across social media
Yep.
And yeah, we can start from there. So, all right, thank you
And I'll
so
send
much
you
for.
other money lines too that you guys may like that are overinflated.
Yeah, please do, please
And,
do,
and
and I
what,
will definitely be paying attention to Temple because my wife is from there, and if someone has a lean on them, I'm just going to pay attention to the lines playable.
Yeah, yeah, they have 2 point of value right now on the spread.
and one more thing, Drew, hang out for a second because I got a question for you here in a little bit. So just hang out for a little
Yes.
bit. Okay?
Oh, of course, I will.
All right, heading into the NBA. Sorry, everybody. We did not expect to go this long, but you know what? When you have expert analysis on Champions League, you take the expert analysis on Champions League. We had I want to say two crazy endings yesterday in the NBA. The Lakers took care of the Nuggets. I didn't expect that. And then you had a blowout. I mean, I guess you kind of did expect that, but the Raptors took care of the Warriors, and the Heat blew out the Kings. This season is just mind-boggling to me. People are sitting, people are tanking. I don't understand where to lay the line. But one place I do like to lay the line here is on the Cavaliers facing the very talented young Hornets team. They got blown out of the water just 2 days ago on Martin Luther King Day to the Cavaliers. The Thunder scored 136 points against a very good defensive team here, right? PrinceOfPicks, and I think this line's too low, -2.5 on the Cavs at minus 118. Just seems too good to pass up. PrinceOfPicks, what are your thoughts here?
So a few things to comment on. So for one, to your point about this being like a difficult time to bet in the NBA with all these random DNPs and guys coming in, going out. I had made a comment earlier this morning on Driving the Line. By the way, it's a great show if you guys ever want to tune in. It's on at 10 a.m. Eastern over on YouTube, hosted by Alan Bell. Excellent show over there. And on that show, I had made a comment about this is kind of like one of the toughest times to bet the NBA. These are like the dog days of the NBA, right? You're talking about like middle of January through about early February. This is usually the time of the year where you see teams kind of like get these random DNPs or teams will go through random slumps. I mean, it's a long season. Teams don't want to go to Milwaukee, on a Tuesday in January, right? It's just, just a lot of variables going on usually this time of the year. So definitely it's, you want to keep your units light when you're betting the NBA during this time of year. But other than that, I mean, I think this is a great question for Drew. This is what I wanted to ask you about. What the hell happened to the Warriors last night? Drew, are you still there?
Gotta take yourself off mute again. We might have muted
Oh
you.
yeah, I was just sending you the inflated money lines for Lays real quick, Prince. I'll send them to you, Stern. But so what happened was I was actually watching the game. So even my the announcer was saying it for the Warriors. The worst 3 point shooting team shot 60% from the three. If you think about it, the Raptors were 21, I think, of 34 from three. So I mean, you can't beat that when they're considered the worst 3 point shooting team, and then they just couldn't miss because the Warriors still shot 50%, right? So the Warriors just lost because a team that doesn't shoot threes well shot them at an insane rate.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens.
that was
Yeah, no, that happens. That's the thing. At any given night, these teams can have random, overs on their, efficiency and percentages and stuff like that. So
right. They're all professional
yeah,
ball players.
you know what? And to that point, Stern, that's exactly why. And I made this comment earlier on a previous show. For me, like when you're talking about laying spreads, right? I won't lay anything bigger than 15 and a half. And that's like an absolute max, right? Like there has to be some really strong, substantial data for me to lay 15 and a half in an NBA game. To your point, they're all professionals. And so on any given night, they can absolutely cover these big spreads. I mean, it's different in college basketball. And Drew, I know you can speak to this. The disparity in college basketball is way different than the disparity in NBA. So you literally will have teams that have no chance in college basketball where you can lay, just as an example, I'm not not handicapping this at all, but let's say Arizona is playing Mississippi Valley State, right? And you got a 35.5 point spread. Like you could lay that comfortably, right? There's spreads in college basketball that you can lay
Yes.
comfortably with big numbers, as opposed to the NBA. For me, in my experience, you really can't because these teams are all professionals and they're all playing for contracts. They're all playing for careers. And so you're going to get maximum effort, even if it's a bunch of guys that maybe aren't aren't as skilled as the other team, but you're still going to get maximum effort. And because they're all professionals, the disparity in talent is not going to be that much. So just a little caveat for me there in terms of, laying big spreads, just kind of a PA for anyone who's, thinking about laying big spreads. For me, 15.5 is my max. But yeah, crazy game last night with the Warriors. I mean, Raptors entered that game 2-10 ATS versus the Western Conference. So they weren't covering spreads, but sometimes they just have these nights. They're all professionals, so they can turn up at any point. But
Something I will say is the MO on the Raptors was, and Steve Curry and his crew, like his assistant coaches, like to do it, where it's, the MO was on the Raptors was that don't necessarily leave them open for threes, but let them take threes, and we let them take
yeah,
threes, and they had us shooting that.
yeah,
It's just,
they're
but
not.
they're like you said, the NBA.
Yeah, they're not a good 3-point shooting team, so it's the right thing to do. But unfortunately, they just happened to make them last night. So
145 points. That's
that's
crazy.
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy for a
And we scored
Raptors team. That's
124. Usually you would
yeah,
win with
yeah,
124.
absolutely, absolutely. Just a wild game. So whatever, we'll chalk it and take the L and move on from that one. But Mo, so to your point, you're talking about the Hornets and the Cavs tonight. I hate to tell you this, so I might be on the other side here. I really like this Hornets team. I think they're undervalued. I think this is a blossoming team. I know when you're handicapping, you're not trying to look into the future, but for me, if I were to project just randomly here into the future, I think this is a playoff team within the next couple of years. And I really like a lot of their young pieces. I like the direction that they're going. And they're actually 60% ATS this season as a home dog. So I believe they're at home tonight, are they not? Right? Yeah, they're home. Yeah, plus
Yep,
three and a
yep.
half at
They're
home.
home as a short
Yep,
favorite -2.
yep.
Sorry, as a short dog +2.5.
Short dog. Yep. So they're 60% ATS as a home dog this season. And you know what? For me, I'm out on Cleveland. I don't know who this team is. You talk about one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA so far. I think Cleveland has to be a top five on that list. I mean, this is a team that came in having an excellent season last year, number one seed. I mean, you were talking about a championship contender for them. And you look at them now, they're just so inconsistent with their level of play, with their effort of play. You don't know if the guys are on the same page. There just seems to be a lot of inconsistencies with Cleveland. And for me personally, every time I bet on Cleveland, I get burned. So I'm out on Cleveland. I'm not taking them. And I just really like the Hornets in this one. So I might be on the opposite side a little bit of you here, but I actually like the Hornets plus 3.5 in this one.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. Listen, we can disagree. We can have a showdown, even though I owe you from the last one still. I personally just
Yeah.
felt that the day off and the embarrassing loss would give them enough time to prepare mentally to get ready to go into Charlotte
You
here.
would think so. You would think so. I'll put it this way. If you're looking at talent like roster to roster, Cleveland is a better team. All right. But there's just for me, there's something missing from Cleveland. They're not fitting for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a style of play. I don't know if Kenny Atkinson is just being stubborn in the way he wants to play. He's not willing to adjust. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I mean, I don't hate Cleveland minus 3.5. They are the better team, but I just really like the way the Hornets play right now. So I'll take a stab at them plus 3.5.
All right, and I got one more game on the docket that I want to talk about in the NBA today. Pacers at the Celtics. I know we just talked about big spreads, but -10.5 might not be big enough for the Celtics taking care of the Pacers at home. Right? They're missing their star. What
Yeah.
stance do they have to keep this close?
Nah, Pacers are fade for me. Pacers are an auto fade for me right now. This is a bad team without their star players. Siakam's doing what he can, but he's not that level of player that can carry a team to multiple wins. And so I think any chance you get to fade the Pacers, especially on the road, especially in Boston. Boston is an elite team at home. Again, like to my point earlier, I have a hard time laying big spreads. I don't like laying double digits in the NBA. But this might be one of those spots where I would strongly consider laying. I think it's at 10.5 right now as I'm looking on TK.
Yep.
I would absolutely consider laying the 10.5 with Boston here at
Yep.
home against a struggling, depleted Indiana Pacers team.
Yeah, that's going to be my second best bet here. Instantly decided that I just can't see the Pacers keeping it close. It just
Yeah,
can't. So yeah,
yeah.
Celtics -10.5 at
You know what it is for
-115.
me most? You know what it is for me more than anything is on the offensive end. They just don't have the scorers to be able to keep up with Boston. And Boston with their volume 3-point shooting.
And
I mean, it's feast or famine for them, right? Because if they're missing their threes, right, then you're gonna have a chance to stay in the game. But at home, they're just an excellent 3-point shooting team. And I don't think Indiana is gonna be able to keep up. I think that's the main look for me.
Yep. All right. Great. So we got our 2 plays in the NBA tonight. We got a play in the NHL. We have multiple plays in the Champions League. We have a play. We have a few plays in college basketball. Is there anything that we missed in the world of sports that you would like to discuss before we head out today in our very long third episode, almost an hour and a half now? Which is honestly, I'm fine with it. I love talking with you and talking with guests. So
Same here. I love it. And if any of you guys have any suggestions, by the way, please feel free to DM us if you any recommendations or anything. We do the show for you guys, so be sure to send us a DM, send us a message, and we'll absolutely read it and take it into consideration. But as far as me, any other news other than your Knicks playing today?
I'm not touching them with a
I
10
thought we
foot
were going to
pole.
cover that, but
No,
you
I
know,
skipped it over on purpose.
yeah, I was waiting for you to talk about that. Yeah,
They should beat the Nets. I'm just not doing it.
crosstown rivalry here. They should beat the Nets, but man, I don't know. I would sprinkle a little bit on Brooklyn money line. I'll tell you what, man, the Knicks are just my gosh. To tell you talk about top 5 most supporting teams. That's another team, right? You got Cleveland, you got the Knicks. Those are 2 teams that are absolutely on that list. So I think they're laying, what's it, 11 and a half? Hell no. Sorry. Brooklyn,
No.
11 and a half for me. That's just
Yeah.
an autoplay. There's no way in hell I can lay 11 and a half with the Knicks. Not right now. Not against
Yeah.
A Brooklyn team that's been, maybe punching over their weight a little bit, but they're feisty as hell. This team, they play hard every night. And, they play a slow pace of play, so it's going to be really hard to score a lot of points against them. Just based on pace of play alone, you're not going to get a whole lot of up and down basketball. So, the amount of shots, the volume of shots, and all that might be kind of limited. So, yeah, I mean, the Knicks are good enough to beat them by 20, but I just don't. I don't see it right now with the vibes with both teams. I like Brooklyn here plus 11.5.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just not going to bet it.
Yeah, yeah, maybe better just stay away altogether. Yeah, especially as a Knicks fan.
I'm a Knicks fan.
Yeah,
I'm a
especially as a
Knicks fan.
Knicks fan.
I'm
Yeah,
literally wearing
yeah.
a Knicks sweatshirt
Yeah,
right now.
you can't bet Brooklyn. Yeah, that'd be like me betting the Packers in a Bears game. I can't do it. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Hey, that burned me last week, 2 weeks ago. You know what? Actually, while we're here, let me just give out my last play today. It is for the weekend in the NFL. Sorry that I'm keeping everybody a little bit extra long. If you want to hear my best bets in the Patriots Broncos game, listen to our episode 1. I went over how I'm attacking the Patriots side there and some of the logic behind it. Check out my new article. Posted last night on my full preview. But my play for the Rams Seahawks here, I'm taking both teams plus 7.5 on the spread at minus 115 over on Bet365. I do think that both teams keep it within a touchdown of each other. I know that the Seahawks are better on paper, but Stafford is just the veteran quarterback who has seen him and McVay have seen every single defensive scheme in the NFL at this point, and I don't think that they're going to lose twice, at least not by a lot, to the same scheme that they just did just a few weeks ago. And also, like while Seattle is the more rested team, the Rams have been through the gauntlet and know how to work their team right now. They know what's not working. They know what is working. And if they run into a problem, they're going to know how to handle it, right? Let's all remember, Seattle only came back by 16 points in the last one to win it in overtime, right? That's not the recipe for success. But I do like Seattle, so I'm just going to take both teams within a
You
touchdown.
you're telling me that coming back from 16 points every week is not a recipe for success? Did the Bears not do that for the last 10 weeks?
They had, I believe, seven
You telling me my
seven
Bears won? You telling me my Bears won with a bunch of smoke and mirrors? No way. Get out of here.
Listen, as good as Ben Johnson has been for that team, and Caleb Williams has really settled in. I mean, we saw some incredible throws, but we also saw some impossibly bad throws. So I'm going to be interested to see what they do next year. They need to boost their defense. They need to
Yes.
get clear. They cannot be ranked in the bottom 5 in rushing defense. That's just not a recipe for long-term success.
No, and especially playing in the cold weather, up here in Chicago. I mean, you're going to have to build a defense. I mean, and it's funny because that's what the Bears have hung their hat on for generations. But, we decided to flip the switch this year and go all offensively. But yeah, I mean, crazy things happen for us to win all those games. I'm not going to lie. It was stars were definitely aligned for us. But anyway, that's last season for us. So we'll move on from that. But yeah, let's see what this weekend brings us. I think it's going to be two really competitive games, two low scoring games. I really think Rams Seahawks. I don't think we see a lot of points in that one really. And then of course you got Sean McVay's got the championship experience, right? He's got Super Bowl experience, so that plays a factor, I'm sure. When it comes down to it, if it's a tight game down the stretch, he might be a little bit more calm under fire there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Who are you going to trust? Sam Darnold, who was with the Jets,
well,
that are
exactly,
literally the league's worst QB,
right.
to come to Seattle. And granted, the schemes are vastly different. The dynasties are incredibly different. But as long as Sam Darnold doesn't have to actually use his arm too much, I think that they get the win. If it comes down to a shootout, I kind of like the Rams in it.
I've been waiting for Sam Darnold to turn into a pumpkin all season. It hasn't happened, but I
Well,
mean,
it
we only
sort of
got
happened in the
sort
first
of,
matchup
right.
between these two teams. He threw
Yeah.
4 interceptions.
True. Okay, good point. So it did happen. But then he turned back into a human. But I don't know. Hopefully he can revert back to a pumpkin again because I've been out on him for a while. And I was actually out on the Seahawks. Full disclosure, full transparency. I thought the Seahawks were going to be terrible this year. So they've absolutely overachieved all of my expectations. But I don't know. At some point the slipper falls off. I think they've kind of having an overachieving season. Having the Seattle Seahawks. So I probably like the Rams in this one. Just based on their personnel, based on their championship experience, Super Bowl experience, and all that. So, but we'll see. It's going to be a tough one for sure. And of course, in the AFC, I think maybe first to 15 wins. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of points in that one. I think you got two elite defenses who are going to really showcase their defensive intensity, if you will, in that one. So, just kind of an early look. I haven't dug into the numbers or anything yet, but just a early preview here as we're coming up, a few days away from the Super Bowl semifinals. As I tell people who aren't NFL fans and they don't know what AFC and NFC means, I kind of put it in layman terms and I say it's the Super Bowl quarterfinals last week. Now it's the Super Bowl semifinals. So we're in the Super Bowl semifinals heading to this weekend.
Yes, and I'm very excited. I also tend to agree. I think we see lower scoring games. I almost parlayed an under 45 in the New England game and an under 55 in the Seattle game and got like roughly minus 140-ish odds. And I really did consider that, but all it takes is, the Broncos to score 2-3 touchdowns to have that overpass on the New England game. And all it's going to take is one of these teams, Seattle or LA, either one scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns early, forcing the other team to keep up. And both teams have decent run blocking. Granted, Seattle is on paper probably the best team in the NFL in almost every stat that we can kind of see here in points per game. They're two in points against per game, opponents' points per game. They're number one. So it's going to be a very interesting match, and I'm very excited to get to it and to get into more analysis later in the week. But we are now at an hour and a half for all our listeners out there. I appreciate all of you coming in. Prince of Picks, do you have any last minute thoughts before I close this up and invite everyone to join our podcast, listening, and or come be on it? We're on Twitter Spaces right now.
Yeah, no, this was our mega marathon episode, so hopefully going forward, we might be able to shorten it up a little bit, but I thought it was a lot of fun, a lot of valid information, great stuff from everyone. Appreciate all you guys listening. I'm going to go ahead and eat my breakfast here and turn on some UCL and watch some Champions League action today.
Oh, yeah, the matches just started 15 minutes ago. I'm very excited to get into it. But again, listen, we mentioned one show, one of which I was on for many months, DTL, Driving the Line by AB, Alan Bell. He has a show 10 a.m. And 3 p.m. every single day. Excellent show. And the other one, which is really where everything kind of stemmed from, CBS Sports Early Edge, hosted by my mentor and person who got me started, Sia Najad. Welcome you to listen to both of those podcasts and shows. Also, I think he is at 10 a.m. every single morning. And on CBS Sports HQ, they have shows throughout the day. So definitely check those out. Check us out. I appreciate you all for being on with us. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you want to be on the show, reach out even more. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful day.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks for joining.